Hi friends, it's Jenny and I am going to play today with the Guardian Angel Design Challenge Kit from Softflex. I haven't been able to play with this one yet. I've been looking forward to it. I love the colors and I have been just kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do, how I wanted to approach this. I absolutely love all the beads in it. I think I'm probably going to be saving some of these to do in a later project, like the ones that have the milky and pearly whites and the light opaque blues and the little kind of champagne colored pearls, cream colored pearls. I thought that this one I would, for a couple of reasons. One, guys, this pendant is a Green Girl Studio angel. Look at how sweet it is. Sweet, sweet, sweet. And it's pewter, so it is this dark gray, and we have some great gray beads that came in the bead mix and the strand, and I wanted to bring those in, but I also wanted to have some blues, so I chose to use some of the darker or bolder blues in the bead mix. We've got some bicones and some cubes that we're going to be using. I've also got this big fatty rondelle. I've got something special planned for him. And in fact, I need those over there. No, I was doing that one. Never mind. And so I decided to lean into the pewter. And so I haven't done a beaded chain necklace for a while. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to do it. And I'm using the 20 gauge craft wire from Softflex in the silver plated pewter color. So that goes gorgeously with this. And so kind of, I love myself some moody blues and grays, and this felt like the perfect opportunity to embrace that. We've had a couple of really rainy days lately. I love rainy days. And so I'm going to lean into that. We do have a few like bright silver findings that I used from the from either the bead mix or bead strands, so they're going to work their way into it. But these are going to be some of the more moody colors or translucent clear, so they'll just go with whatever vibe we put them with. So I made some links ahead of time. A lot of these are kind of one-off links, or there's just a few. So I'm going to be making one of each type of link with you, and then we're going to play. I have not planned out an order for these. We're just going to play with these beads. So we're going to make the links, and then we're going to make the focal link, and then we're going to play around with arranging it and turning it into a beautiful necklace. I do plan on using the teeny tiny ceramic angels as drops on a pair of earrings later. So in fact, we've got two of these that we're going to be making a link for. And I'm still deciding which one I want to be the earring link and which one I want to be. There are two versions of the same link. Just there were only so many bead caps and I wanted to use them with the cubes, because I like the way that looks like a lantern. It just, it just looks like a lantern, okay? And so I thought that there would be a nice touch to have with angels, bringing a little bit of light. So anyway, so I think I'm gonna do these with the earrings for that reason. These ones will kind of just blend in more towards the rest of the design, whereas if I have a lantern with each of these angels, that feels kind of appropriate. So I have made it to look like a lantern, and that's where we're gonna go with it. But we're gonna make one of each of those. We're gonna use a total of 4 of these links, a total of 6 of these links. You see 5 here, we're gonna make 1. There are 2 of these, so I've already made 1. We'll make 1 as well. And then I currently have planned these crystal rondelles are going to be at the back of the design, more around the neck. And so I don't know if I need more than 3 on each side. This is my current estimate, but I do have more of those if we need to make them. So let me move a few things kind of up and out of our way. The links we've already made. The extra links that we've already made. I'll put we're making one of each of these. Looks like it's 6 different links that we're making. And then the focal link. So that's going to be created a little bit differently. So I want to do it after we do these necklace links. So let's get started. I am going to make these assembly line style. So I'm going to load all of the beads on my wire. Oh, we need to go over tools. I did say we're going to be using the Pewter craft wire. I am going to be using my chain nose pliers, round nose pliers, and bent chain nose pliers. Probably will end up using some flat nose too, because I like how wide they are for squishing my links and giving them a little bit of a work harden. And then we'll be using some flesh cutters. I am going to be using some ear wires from my stash, because with my metal allergy, I can't use the ones that come in the kit. But this kit, honestly, it comes with everything that you need aside from your tools to be able to create. It comes with a spool of beading wire. It comes with the crimps to be able to use that beading wire. It comes with ear wires, a clasp, as well as all of these beads that that you see here. You can purchase separately. It's a $36.95 is the usual price for one of the design challenge kits. Sometimes when there's an artisan component such as this, the price might be a few dollars more. But if you want the bead strand, which some of these beads came from the bead strand, some of these larger beads, then you do need to buy that separately. But you can be able to start making right away. I mean, everything minus the tools. You can already make a few pieces of jewelry. There's always enough to definitely do more than just one thing. And it's really good. In fact, this kit is still available. This one, because it does, like I said, it had that artisan piece in it, is a few dollars more. I looked on the website as of this recording. It is still available, as is the bead strand and the bead mix for it. Also, the next design challenge kit, which we haven't seen the contents of, but we know the theme. It's champagne toast, and that kit and bead strand are also available to purchase. I'm going to have a link in this description that is going to take you to all of the currently available kits and kit components. If there's bead strands or bead mixes you might want to buy separately, that's where they'll be listed. So just so you know, that's all going to be there. I am choosing with this design to not use the beading wire for this one. I did use it. No, I didn't. I haven't made with this kit yet. It came with the white quartz beading wire, medium beading wire. But since I'm doing a beaded chain design, I'm using some Softflex craft wire instead. So let's get into this. Hang on just a moment. Okay, it is finally starting to get cold here. I'm in Texas, and we had 80-degree weather last week, but this week we've been in the 30s and 40s, some of the 60s, but still a lot colder. And so my hands get really dry in the winter. So I needed to put on a little bit of hand cream so that I didn't have dry hands distract me while I was doing all this. Okay, so what I'm doing is with this beading wire, I'm just running it gently between my thumb and my forefinger and bending it slightly back and forth. And what that does is it works out any kinks and helps to smooth it out and warm it up without hardening it. So that's something that Becky taught me, so I do. All right, so one of our links is just one of the crystal rondelles by itself. So that's that link. And then for this link, we're doing a blue bicone, a clear crystal rondelle, and a blue bicone. Like I said, we're going to have a total of 4 of those in our design, 2 each side. So that one has been loaded. And then for this one, we're going to do the translucent blue drucks. There were some opaque blue drucks as well. I think they called them that, baby blue. Yeah, one is matte, one is transparent. These are the transparent ones. I'm going to use the matte ones, like I said, in another design that is going to lean more with the milky white and soft blues. So that's that link. And then this link is very easy. It's just the one bead, because that's a big bead all on its own. It doesn't need any friends. And then we've got our minimalist link. Sorry, I almost put it on in the wrong order, which includes one of the transparent drucks, a flywheel spacer. They stack together. I was like, why do I only have one? a flywheel spacer, a blue cube, another flywheel, or a sheriff's badge, or whatever you want to call that, a little bit of a daisy spacer, but it's got spokes, and then another transparent druck. And then the more ornate lantern one that gives us an actual lantern look with those bead caps starts the same way. In fact, it has all the same beads as the one we just did, except instead of the flywheels, we put on one of the bead caps, open side up, cube, cap with the open side down, and then another transparent druck. Okay, those are extra beads. I have more beads in my thing in case I want to make other links. So these are the beads that we need to make our 6 links. Some of these I have multiples ready to go. A lot of these, in fact, these 3 here are just one-offs. So I'm going to be doing simple loops. I'm going to be using my round nose pliers for this. I have an already flush cut end, and I'll show you when I'm making it why I always know that I have a flush cut. What we're going to do is I'm going to take this. This is the assembly line style. So we're basically going to be doing all the steps for all the links all together. But I showed you what order we're putting the beads on. So you're going to take the end of your wire. Let me move these links up and out of the way because they are getting the attention of my camera. All right, that's going to focus better, much better. All right, you're going to put it between the jaws of your round nose plier, just so it's barely coming out the other side. And you're going to rotate it towards you until the metal meets metal right here. And then you're going to open the jaws of your plier, rotate it until it comes kind of up against that wire, close it, and then give it just a little twist. What that does is it centers that loop above your wire. And then you're going to take your beads, scoot them up to that point, and then I cut with the flush side down towards my spool with my flush cutters here, and then I just set it down like this. We'll bend those over and make our loops our other loops in a little bit. Now the reason that I do that flush side down is because that way I start with a nice flush cut here, and this other one is still going to get a little bit of a trim, so I'll have a chance to make it flush as well. Just saves me a step, and I don't have to keep track of whether or not I have a flush start. And I'm just repeating that same method. It didn't quite center, so I'm just moving it and knocking it just a little bit more. If you need to straighten out your loop because it bent over while you were working it, you can just grab some pliers and do that. And here's the next one. Okay. This way I'm not guessing how much space, how much wire I need for each link. I'm just softening this wire again, working out some kinks because I've moved down a little bit as I've been cutting additional wire. But this way you don't have to know ahead of time how much space you need. You'll have a little bit of scrap, but for me at least, it's a lot better than if I tried to guess ahead of time how much I need and then be wrong and need to cut more wire. Just overall a better thing. Okay. Had something under one of my fingernails and it was weird, so I had to fix it. All right. We've only got 2 more here. So this is the link that just has the bicones on either side of that rondelle. And you can see my links are going to be all different sizes because I've got different bead configurations, and that's fine. That's fine. All right. So those are the 6 different links. And now what I'm going to do, because I am just making these all parallel links, is I'm taking my link right here and I'm checking to see which side it opens on. So I've got the open side to the left. So I'm just going to take this and bend the wire with my thumb down. You can use pliers if you would rather, towards the right. And that means that when I make its loop, then it's going to have the open side also on the left. So it'll be open left and open left. So if I want to, I don't know, I guess it just looks tidier to me. So yeah, it's just me being picky. Just me being picky, but I'm going to follow that same step for all of these. Just bending over that loop. You want to make sure that you make it tight enough to hold your beads, but not so tight that you crack anything. My wire keeps twisting on this one. And if yours aren't parallel because it turned while you're doing it, that's fine. I will show you how to adjust that in just a moment. And then this one, so this one I'm going to hold a little bit differently. I'm holding it this way because it's long like this. It's going to be easier for me to make the loop this direction. So I turned the bead itself so that I can be working in a more compact area when I go to make that loop. So I'm going to actually do this one next because that's the next step. And that is simply taking these, using the flush cutters, this is that extra trim that they're all getting, and cutting it down to about 1 centimeter to make this other loop. They all need a little bit of a trim. A little bit too much, there we go. And sometimes the thicker beads you have to kind of get in there a little bit, make sure that you're getting the size loop you want. And if you wanted to do this with bell making pliers, you can. I've found that I like using the round nose pliers because it lets me adjust as I go. So if I haven't cut it precisely right, I can correct that as I'm making the loop itself. So it's just a personal preference. If you would rather use your bell making pliers, you are more than welcome to. Or if you're using a one-step looper or anything like that, you know, that's up to you. So then now I'm taking this one, since it's bent over, I can go ahead and get this in here, make the loop by rolling it towards me, checking to make sure that it closes what it needs to. But because I bent it over to start with, it's already centered above my beads. So I don't have to do that extra bit of bending it back after. That's why I do it in this order, because then I'm not trying to get a tool in there to bend back where it might do a crunch, because we don't want crunches. I'm just doing this for each of these 6 links. And then we've got one more step that we'll actually do 2 things at once. After we finish making all these loops, we'll do 2 things at once, and I'll show you how I finish my simple loops for links. All right, and this is the one that I wanted to make sure I was holding the bead a certain way, because then I will have more room to make my loop. That's good. Okay, so the other step that we're doing next, and I'm just taking 2 sets of pliers. I've got some flat nose and my chain nose. I am making sure that I have parallel loops, and the way you do that is you just put 1 loop in each of 2 sets of pliers. This one was actually parallel. I don't have to adjust it at all. But before I put it down, I'm just squeezing each of these so that I can work harden those loops just a little bit. And so I do this with each one. Oh, that also stayed parallel. Dang, I did good. I usually have at least some adjustment that I need to make. so far I'm not. I need to show you one that needs an adjustment. Maybe I'll fake one. Gosh, okay, so I am getting better at that. I'm getting better at getting them to stay the right direction. Oh, here's one. This one needs an adjustment. Look how off that is. So this one you can tell is not parallel because when I'm holding these loops as they are, my pliers don't line up. So all I do is while I'm grasping both of those wires, I move one of them to bring it into a parallel position. And like I said, give it a little squish. And that was the only one who needed it. That's all right. That's all right. Okay, I'm gonna set these aside and we're gonna make one more link, and it is gonna be for, oops, there we go, okay. It is, oh, I only need one of those. It's gonna be a focal link that's going to attach our pewter pendant, our little angel from Green Girl Studio. It says safe and has a little G back here. We're going to attach that to the rest of the necklace by making a link, and we're going to make this link, it's going to have perpendicular loops. And I am playing with, if I start putting this together and I don't like it, I might simplify it down, but I kind of want to have a moment above this angel. And I'm doing that with some of this bright silver. So we have this metal bead that had the CZ sparkles there around it in a band. And then these are some of the larger, I don't know what they call that, CZ rondelle, I guess, that came in the bead strand. There are some smaller ones that came in the bead mix if you wanted to use that. And it does a lot of wobbling. See how much that wobbles? Well, it's not gonna wobble with this big chonker right there to hold it. And this just felt very like, I don't know, celestial, kind of ornate, but I thought it would make a nice connecting link with the pendant. If it feels out of place, I will change it. That is the one thing about making your own jewelry. You can change your design. But this is what I'm going to start with. So I'm just going to make this link similar to what I did before, but I do need these to be larger loops than I was using on the other ones because one, it needs to accommodate this loop on the pendant itself, and it's also going to act as a point of connection for both sides of the necklace. And so I want a larger loop. I don't think I want to go all the way biggest here. I think that might be too big. I'm going more about the middle. Most of my loops I do around this point right here. So I'm thinking I want to do it here. So I'm just going to do this. I'm going to use the same method, but it's going to be a larger loop. I think that's about the size that I want. And then we're going to cut this. And because I'm making a larger loop, I'm cutting a little bit extra to make sure that I have room to make it. Because here's the tricky bit, at least for me, is I know when I'm making my normal loops to get about the size that I need, that I need to cut it a certain length, and then I can make the size loop that I need. In this case, I don't know what length I need. I know that I've cut enough, but I don't know where to cut it to make it stop. So I'm going to do a trick that I learned from watching Joey, and that she does her simple loops a different way. So I'm going to start the same way, and I'm going to bend that over so that it starts centered. And then I'm going to get my pliers in here about where, like I said, that's about the size that I want. And I'm going to wrap the wire around, swing these open as if I'm going to turn this into a wrapped loop. I'm going to swing it back beside. Oh, that made it a little bit too loose. I can adjust that after I cut it. So this is going to be about the size loop that I need. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and cut off that spare bit of metal. And then I'm going to fix my loop and make it pretty, because it's not pretty. But at least I know I've got the right size. So I'm just going to back it up a little bit, get that bend back in it, and bring it back in and complete that loop. But that way I knew what I was doing. And so this time, like I said, these need to be perpendicular loops. They definitely need to be work hardened. So giving that a little squish. And getting this one here, I was going for perpendicular, which is right angles, and I was actually pretty close. Look how close I am, guys. I just need to adjust this one just a tiny bit. Now they're perpendicular. Okay, and bent over a little. Fix that. So I think that's about how I want it to be. It looks funny laying down, but I think with gravity it'll be just fine. If I end up hating this, like I said, I will redo this part and do something else. That's okay. So if we are putting this on, and there is a right side and a wrong side to, oh, I don't think I did that as a flush cut. I think I cut it the wrong way to be flush cut. So I'm trimming it just a tiny bit. There we go. So there is a right side and a wrong side to the pendant, and I want it to face so that the opening is at the back. I'm just going to swing this closed, and I did trim it, so I'm just making sure I move it in enough. And now I need to tug to make sure that that is not going to come loose. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, that's fine. The larger the loop, the more you might need to harden it. I don't have pewter in a larger gauge wire, so I am using this one. There we go. So then that hangs like this, and then we've got a round loop here that faces sideways so we can connect our other links to it, one on each side. So this is going to be our focal. I think that's pretty. Yep, I think that's pretty. Let me move my tools out of the way and let's play with an arrangement. Because like I said, I didn't plan this ahead of time. I know that I've got these plain rondelle ones that I want at the back, so I'm moving them up and out of our way for a little bit. And then I know I've got 4 of these, so we'll put 2 on each side, 6 of these, so there's 3 on each side. 1 each of these. The lanterns are going to be earrings, so I'll move them out of the way, and then we've got these. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I want to start with maybe the gray ones here, because we have this blue stone. And then we'll do these more ornate blue ones. And then we'll do these, but point side down so they look a little bit more like a heart shape. And they mimic the shape of this. And then we'll do some blue, gray, blue, and gray. I like that. I like that. So I've moved it over so you can't see all of it, but you can see at least all of one side, and I currently have them mirrored. I think that this is going to be a good placement, and we will use as many of these as we need. We don't know yet. I'm going to start by linking these together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on one end, because I know that it's going to need at least all of these links that I currently have on my mat. I've got the clear ones, the more basic ones up above. And I am just going to go ahead and start linking it together. So I'm going to open one end of this gray link and attach one end of this blue with the blue bicombs. And then I'm going to open the other end of the blue bicone. And get that gray. It's a gray square. And I'm just continuing on, just following that pattern, adding one link and opening the other end of that link to add the next one. See, this one has a small gap. I can fix it when I close this one. This one does need to be the right way because it does have an up and down, whichever way you decide you want yours to do. Do you want it to have a shape like a heart? Did you want it to have a shape like a drop? That's entirely up to you. It's possible we won't need those other rondelle links that I made. But we have them if we do. So that was the large, like dark gray one, and then the cube, and then we've got another of these. So this is one side, and then I'm just doing the exact opposite on the other side. And this doesn't actually take very long because I don't have a lot of tiny links. So I'm going to go ahead and just keep the camera rolling and finish making this with you. I enjoy making with the Softflex design kits, but I especially love this one. I love the colors. I love the mood. I love the message, you know. This was, it's wintry because of the colors, but it's guardian angels, and it has a lot of angels in it. Thinking of, you know, the people who would watch over us after they're gone. It's a good time of year to think of that. Not everybody has everybody at the holidays. We don't, there are some people we won't see again. And it can be a very sad time of the year if you are alone. And I hope that you don't feel alone. But if you do, I hope that you find someone to be with and someone to talk to. And don't just stay in your loneliness, because that's a very difficult place to be. Oh, I was talking and I finished making all of these. I'm actually not going to have this one open. I am going to open this link. Yeah, I'm going to open this link, and I am holding it backwards, but that's because I'm right-handed, and the opening when I'm holding it this way is on the right. And I'm just going to open this, and I'm going to put on both of these sides of the necklace. Just giving it an extra little squish to kind of help harden that now that I've swung it open and put it in position. I like this, guys. Look. Look, let me kind of pair them up like this. You can see the situation and the movement. And now I need to decide how I want it, because it will kind of, you can get a little bit more movement in your beaded chain by using jump rings to connect instead of connecting them directly to each other. But it gets a little bit fiddly. It only needs to be smoothed out a little bit. This is not long enough on its own. It's doing pretty good though. That's a good size length at the moment. I'm gonna get the 3 on each side, and I think that that's actually gonna be perfect. I may have guessed that exactly right. To get the 3 on each side. And then I'll check it again and see if I need to make any additional links, because now is the time to do that. I can always, because I have the tools and I have the supplies and I have the crystals, I can always add some more later if I choose to have it a little bit longer. But this is not a bad start. And then doing it same on this side. Getting our 3 crystals, rondelles. And not all of these loops are perfect. I noticed that this one is more like a pea than a lollipop, but that's okay. It is something that I am still practicing. I feel like I do pretty good with the simple loops. I'm certainly better at those than wrapped loops, but I am still practicing all of it. Okay, now I'm going to check this again. Get the kinks out. So if I end it here, it might be a little bit short. I'm going to make 2 more links. I plan on using, yes, I think my sister had made me these hooks and figure-8 links, and these were made with Softflex craft wire in the pewter color, the exact same color I'm using tonight, so I don't need to recreate that. So I am going to have room for a clasp. I think between the room for the clasp and 2 more, then that's going to fit a little bit more comfortably with that pendant. So let's just make a couple of links real quick. These are the easiest ones, just a bead each, and they'll go quickly because I'm not demonstrating every step of the way with 6 different links. So I'm just, and you can see I've moved back to the part of the pliers that I usually use for my simple loops. Them trimmed down. It just saves time to not just be picking up, rotating through all of your tools. You can do several tasks with one tool and then continue on to the next. When you're making a lot of links especially, you can save a lot of time using this method, which I learned from my sister. Most of what I learned from my sister, but I do still learn from other people too. And sometimes I discover things on my own. So that's me straightening it and work hardening it a little bit. You can see I did those quicker and they did need an adjustment, but they're super easy to adjust. All right, let's get these guys added on. And then we will be done with the necklace, and then we will be assembling the earrings. And I think she gave me some ear wires that were these too, but I might have to look for that. I might have to pause and look. I have silver ear wires, but I was kind of trying to go with all the same colors. I can also make ear wires, but I have not made them before. My sister makes them, and I've seen her make them, and she made them for me, but I have not actually done them myself. I don't know why, but I'm a little bit chicken about it. I shouldn't be. It's a very easy thing to do, and she demonstrates it well. But, okay, I need to figure out which is, so this is the front of my necklace, which means this is the right side, and I like to put the fiddly bit in my right side. In that case, that means the hook. So I'm just gonna open up this link, and you can open up either the link, or if you've made a hook like this one, you can open the loop on the hook and just pop that on. I think that's, yeah, that way that will hook this way. So it'll put the hook in, okay? And then the figure 8 is literally like, it doesn't matter which way you do it, it's right, because they're exactly the same. And swing that open, put it on, and swing it closed. And just make sure that you're back where you're supposed to be. So then just check to make sure that this is all exactly as I want it to be once the clasp is attached. And yes, that is a perfect fit. I love that a lot. Okay, let me get it unhooked, I think. I'm just gonna wear it forever. Okay, so that's very easy. Let me pause for just a moment and see if I can locate the ear wires I was thinking of. If not, I will just put them on some silver ear wires because that's not gonna look bad. We've got the silver right here as well. So actually, let's just do that. Let's not be weird about it. Oh, that's not my ear wires. My ear wires are, I have a little box with ear wires. They're there. That was Bales. Sorry about the noise. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, whatever that is that they're rumbling around and doing. All right, so this, we are going to make one extra component, and that is we are putting our little angels that we're going to use as dangles on some pins. These are some stainless steel pins. I've got some memory wire cutters for cutting those because they will ding up my nice cutters. But currently, my plan is just to put the angel on just like this because we have this lantern that we're going to be using as a link for it. And I don't think, like, if this were smaller, then maybe it could be a halo, but that's just way too big for her little head, and it wobbles all around. So I don't really think that I have something with this one to use as a halo. Now, if you had gotten the Artisan Angel strand, I did not, that might have something that you could use. But I'm going to move ahead with this. So I'm just going to go ahead and bend this back, cut it down. And these do have a right way and a wrong way, but they're going to spin unless you wire wrap them into a certain direction, which I'm not doing. So if you want them to stay facing forward, you will need to approach them a little bit differently. Mine will just spin. Sometimes they'll have their back to you, sometimes not. But as Becky said, she's glad they don't have faces or they're not covering their faces because then it, you know, is a little bit too scary. And if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you don't worry about it. I'm going to go ahead and take these and give them some loops. Why are you being so weird? There we go. Okay. I think that one was too long. Yes, that other one was too long. Its loop is too big. So I'm going to go snacking on this loop. Something that I know Becky has done. A little bit trickier because I am using the memory wire cutters. That's part of why it was not the right size to begin with. because I have a harder time gauging the length for that cut when I use the memory wire cutters, because it's cutting in the middle instead of on the end. And then here we go. Yes, that is going to feel so much better. Okay. All right, all right. So then we're going to take this. This is the same top and bottom, so it doesn't really matter which way we're doing this. We're just going to attach our angel to one side, and she'll spin around, so it doesn't really matter which way she faces. I'm using the wrong pliers. I do that sometimes. And then I'm opening up the other side and attaching my ear wire. I use magnetic clasps a lot, and so my tools have become slightly magnetized, so it keeps trying to pick up that ear wire like that. That's just magnetization. Yeah, I don't think the silver ear wires look strange because of this silver lantern, so I don't think that looks out of place. I don't think it needed to be the pewter. So we'll just do that same again, but with our other link. And do I like that? I think I do. I think I do. I think I like that for the angel. Have a little blue celestial lantern kind of shape. And you could put any bead inside those bead caps, but I think having a square bead is why, to me, I see a lantern. Because that's often how lanterns are, that they either have 4 sides or 6 sides. They have flat sides that it shines out. Old school lanterns anyway. And I do think of angels and sources of light together, so to me that fits. Especially since we're doing like moody grays and things like that, so having a little reference to a source of light is a nice bit. Okay, so let's take one last look. I finished my set. This is the necklace with the pendant from Green Girl Studio and the focal link that I made for it. And then I used Softflex craft wire for all the links, as well as Becky used it previously to make this hook and figure 8 clasp for me. I love digging into my stash and getting some of the things she made for me. It was when she was trying to help me get started in all of this before I had the skills or the good tools and stuff, and she made some things and I continue to use them. I'm just unkinking a couple of these that are just, they're wanting to twist together, and it shortens when they do that. So you do want to make sure that if your necklace is kinking a little bit, that you just kind of shake out that chain, get it going the right way. And then we have our, let's get this here, making space, put our earrings here, turn my angels once I have the earring laying down, because like I said, they can go anyway. But here is my Guardian Angel beaded chain set from the Guardian Angel Design Challenge Kit from Softflex. The Champagne Toast Design Challenge Kit, you can buy it now. If you buy it, please don't share anything that you make with it yet. Save that until it has been officially revealed on the last Wednesday of this coming month. That's when the new kit will also become available to purchase. So you want to keep an eye on those. If you do make from this design kit, the Guardian Angel, then you are invited to join the Facebook group. The link will be in the description below. It's the VIB Studio Facebook group for Softflex. And if you make with it, share it with a hashtag of angel. And you might be chosen as in a drawing, a random drawing for a future kit. So that is a great way to get some kits. I have won that before. I won, I want to say, the Surf's Up kit from participating in the design challenge. So I'll be posting this to share this design with everybody in the Softflex group, and it's just a really great group. So come and join there anyway. People share designs and encourage each other, and it's just a great place to be, part of that wonderful beadie community that we all know and love. So if you liked what you saw here, hit like. If you want to see more, subscribe. Check the description of this video for all the details on getting these beads or ordering future kits. And as always, my friends, happy beading, and don't forget to play. Bye!